Good morning, everybody. It is the final trading day of June and TGIF. It is Friday. Welcome to MarketStream.live. My name is Joseph Cusick with the Cusick Group, and this is where we cover all the overnight action in Asia. Well, you look at the scoreboard, 2 up, 2 down. That's what we had this week in Asia, and the 4 major indices that we take a look at: Japan, China, Hong Kong, and India. We had 2 up and 2 down. So let's drill down, and really what I want to start with is taking a look at some currency pairs, and one in particular, the US dollar against the Japanese yen. And this will really tell the story of what's going on in Japan. The Japanese yen this week has found a bid, and it has gotten very strong. That has put pressure on the market. What has escalated the pressure was the action here Thursday in the States in tech. We had a big pop in tech on Wednesday, then a pullback on Thursday. That left the overnight session with very little positive in Japan. The Nikkei actually finished down 186, but the Japanese yen continues to strengthen. And the fact of the matter is that I think there is concerns right now on the inflation front, but I think really, and this is what I've been harping on, it's not so much the fact that there's going to be a lack of inflation or a lack of potential spikes in inflation. I think what central bankers are looking at is inflation without price inflation without wage inflation. And that's, I think, the theme that you're going to hear more and more. I've been harping on this. We have not seen wage inflation. People just aren't making more money, and that's a global phenomenon. It's not just here in the States. You're hearing it in China. You've been hearing it in Japan. So this is a concern. The market pulled back. It did finish, though, the Nikkei right on its 20-day moving average. So it's not like the trend, the market has completely changed. But in the short term, it has gotten negative, and we're going to watch this. We are going to have a shortened session on Monday. And Tuesday we will be closed here in the States. But with that being said, watch the Nikkei and EWJ today. This is the ETF that trades here in the States. Watch this. We have a positive opening right now in Europe, and we're starting to see that the markets here in the States are firming up pre-market. Let's see if EWJ tries to make a little bit of a bid with this bounce that most of the traders in Asia just couldn't, because of the overnight session, they weren't able to take advantage of that. So we'll see if maybe there's some shoring up of risk in EWJ today. In the Shanghai Composite, oh, by the way, Japan finished down 0.5% for the week. The Shanghai Composite, just taking a look, we had some key manufacturing PMIs come out, came out at 51.7. Now that was, this Purchasing Managers Index came out about 0.7% higher than what was expected. This was a positive for the Shanghai Composite. It did finish up on the day, up 4 points, about 0.15% to the upside. But it's in this grind. There's still uncertainty about what's going to happen on the mainland. Again, we're going to watch this one real closely. But this is going to be a cautious trade, to say the least, and we saw that this week with this consolidation. And this also puts in, when you look at this visual, when you look at how this market has been trading this week, it completely makes sense. It's very consolidated, even though it is above its 20, 50-day, and 200-day moving averages. The bottom line is that there hasn't been sufficient investment, and that's the concern of the Chinese government from outside money. Being added to the MSCI, that's a positive, the 222 names that were there. Also, you're seeing that they had a banking agreement with HSBC. That is another positive. They're starting to get some capital coming into the mainland. Which also explains why, and keep an eye on FXI. FXI is in a battleground right now. That's the ETF that tracks China. I want to see some conviction in getting back over that 20-day moving average before I would think about putting any exposure. And there's just not enough volatility for me to try to structure some sort of option strategy that makes sense in China. But there is what looks to be, with that latest manufacturing PMI, some growth that's being expected on the forefront. We're going to watch that very closely. There is some movement is Hong Kong. We continue to see Hong Kong struggling. Finished the week down about 0.8% versus the Shanghai Composite on the mainland. That's the Chinese index that we were just talking about. Finished up the week 1.1%. Now, Hong Kong, really what you're seeing is a shift out of property names and also financials. That could be also flowing back over to the mainland, looking for growth opportunities. EWH is in that war zone right here, that battleground between the 20 and 50-day moving average. Let's see how that actually plays out today. I want to see if there's maybe a little bit of a bounce, especially since we have firming up in tech, and obviously with some of the agreements that have been announced overnight with HSBC and also the positive European Open as well as the US Open. Let's see if that resonates in EWH in that ETF. The Sensex India. India has been challenged. You can see, again, in that battleground, the bulls are now battling, but the index was able to finish up 64 points overnight, but down 0.4%, and in that battleground, in between the 20 and 50-day moving average. If you're looking to invest in India right now, you want to see it hold that 50-day moving average, which it has all week, and now you want to see some momentum. What do I mean by momentum? You want to see consumer names, and you want to see financials. Now, keep moving to the upside. Financials struggled again last night, but consumer names really popped. I think these so far, the data that's been coming out this week and over the previous weeks, I think it's going to be a catalyst, especially in the consumer side, but we'll see if it continues. That will help India on the growth side. Watch EPI. That's an ETF that will trade during the market session here in the States. That has been under pressure. Unlike the overall Sensex in the Indian markets, this ETF has been under pressure. Let's see if it starts to garner a little bit of upside push. Right now, it's in slightly of a bearish trend, so we'll watch that one closely. All right, folks, that's it for the overnight session report for Asia. Join me at 7:45 Central, 8:45 Eastern. I'm going to be talking about everything that's going on in Europe. See you then.